Hey friends, let's talk about reading for today. I have some ad minimum things to go over about your lesson that you'll be completing today. So there's a part that says to write the answer to some discussion questions. You don't have to write those down. If you want to get some good writing practice in, you can write the answer to maybe just one of them. But for those questions, just discuss those with your learning guide. And then there's another section that says to write sentences and draw pictures with a bunch of vocabulary words. You don't have to do that. Like I said, you can do maybe one, but really I just want you to discuss those vocabulary words. You can use them in a sentence. You can say the sentence out loud, but you don't need to write all of those down. And then there's a vocabulary section today that I just want you to skip over. So let's get started with what we're going to be learning. So we're going to be learning about the central message to stories. And a central message is part of the theme or part of the story that the author wants you to learn. So it's the lesson or the moral in the story. And you're going to find a lot of central messages in like fairy tales and fables and things like that. There's a lesson, or another word for that is the moral of the story. So oftentimes you're listening to a story and you can kind of tell, like, the author doesn't come out and say, like, this is what I want you to learn. You kind of have to use context clues. You have to use your inferencing, use your brain, and kind of figure out what that central message is. So it's the part of the theme that the author wants you to learn. So we're going to take a look at the Three Little Pigs, and the Three Little Pigs definitely has a strong central message. So we're not going to listen to the whole story, but we do have a retelling that we're going to watch. All right, so that was a quick retelling of the story of the Three Little Pigs. So I want you to take just a minute. You can pause the video, and I want you to think about it and discuss, what do you think the central message is in this story? What do you think the author wants you to learn? There's a lesson here that's being taught. What do you think the author wants you to learn? So pause the video, talk about it, think about it, and then come back when you're ready. All right, so in this story, the Three Little Pigs, they each build their house out of something different. And then the big bad wolf comes and he tries to blow their house down. Well, you see the pig that built his house out of straw, really flimsy straw that doesn't really weigh a whole lot. The wolf was able to blow it down easily. And then the second little pig built his house out of sticks, really kind of, not the greatest building material. The wolf was able to blow it down real easy. But the third little pig built his house out of brick. So he had to use brick and he had to use concrete in between that dries real hard, very sturdy, very firm. And guess what? The wolf couldn't blow it in. So I think the central message here that the author's trying to tell you is the first two little pigs didn't make very smart choices with what they built their house out of, and they probably were trying to be rushed, and they probably didn't take the time to build something that would hold up because they didn't expect the wolf to come by. But then the third pig made a very smart choice with his building material. He took his time and built something that was strong. So the central message here is it's worth taking the time, and it's worth making those smart choices when you do something. It doesn't have to be building a house. It can be anything. Just doing your schoolwork. It's worth taking the time to do it right and do it well, because other people who rush through their work, they're not going to learn as much as the people who take their time and do it the right way. And then it could be with schoolwork. It could be with anything. Anything that you do is worth taking the time and doing right and doing well. So you can find the central message in a lot of stories. It's part of the theme that the author wants you to learn. So it's the lesson or the moral in the story.